a little bit of a piece that I wrote called Seas. And I had a feeling it was going to be a piece that would end up being an intro to something I was doing. Now, before I go forward, did any of you even hear it? Was I once again playing music that nobody heard? Because that'll be really funny if I'm like, hey, yeah, talking about music that I'm writing here. Oh, yeah, I'd be glad to. Yeah, still working with some of this stuff here. Oh, well, let's not lock the... Yeah, gotta love not having a tech crew because you do it all yourself. Yeah, I'd be happy to put this mic where y'all can see it. Welcome. So, music. Could you hear it? My intro music for this morning? Or was that not happening? Was that a figment of my imagination? That is what I'm curious to find out about today. One moment. This mic's going to drive me insane if I don't have it positioned where it doesn't drive me insane. Either that or that. That'll work. Hey. So, yeah, without a not gay Jared, it's always difficult. I'll just have to be the not gay Dave Rubin for all of you guys. You should blame OBS. It was their fault. Good morning, Last Moomin. Yeah, I'm glad to see a new face here. That's always a plus. Who can hear me well? How about now? Is that better? Turn the mic up a bit, and you'll catch me, so I don't have to be right up on it. Is this good for you guys? See, little by little, we get this show better. It's always nice. Armenian. So the music was low. Okay, so I just got to turn it up louder next time. That's cool. Last Moomin, you're clearly not a troll because you're part of the in crowd. So here's the deal: you're one of us, and we do practice in group preference here within the Bears. So welcome to Mod Life. No one will silence you here, except for me. Oh, I was disconnected from the chat for a moment. That's never good. I'm going to bring this more center so I can stay center. So I'm on this shaky little table. So if you see the camera bounce a bit back and forth, you'll you'll know why. Also, while I was playing the music, I ran back upstairs because I forgot my coffee. One of these days, I'd love an opportunity to make for you guys my special recipe. I actually take regular coffee grounds and I'll combine them with a little bit of cinnamon thrown into the mix, and then I'll put a little bit of nutmeg. I just tried that recently, and that really, really works nice. And a little bit of once I pour the first half of the hot water into the French press that we use, I'll pour a little bit of I'll pour it halfway full first. This is something I learned from my good friend Scott. Pour it halfway full first, and then I'll add a little bit of either almond or vanilla extract, maybe a little bit of both, right? And so we've got the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the almond, and the vanilla. And I have to tell you, it is quite good. It's a good combination of coffee. So you fill it the rest of the way full, and you get a little bit of that frothiness. And then what I did as well was take some milk and shake it up, and you get this frothy stuff going on with the milk. It probably wouldn't be bad if I heated it as well. If it was just cold, it's probably not going to do as well as if it's hot and then chill it all together. But I could probably start drawing things in the foam that way if I frothed up the milk. Is that so? Is it? I may be reading it wrong. Is it the last? Oh no, I read it right. The last moomin, not the last morning. That was an R. Yes. Yes, I need to continue to further my cocaine addiction. That's rather important. So, the status of the chunk t-shirts it has been, that's an important topic here. Ooh, cacao. That's a great idea. I might have to do that. Yeah, I get my cocaine eyes. It's either Adderall or cocaine, one of the two, which I advocate neither of. Right? Let's just make that abundantly clear. Don't advocate those things for public consumption. I don't think it's in your best interest. This is good. The chunk T-shirts are coming, and in fact, what I ought to do, give me one moment, what I'm going to do is share with you something rather important. Not just important, but rather important. In fact, so important. Oh, you know what? Ha! It's not even in here yet. So you've all seen it. You know what it is. You know what's going to be done. But it's coming to a T-shirt near you. Discussing lyrics? Yes, I do. So I'll talk a little bit about lyrics. Now, what in particular do you want to know? Are you talking about lyrics that I've written or how I go about writing them? Because both are useful questions. But what is it that you're curious about? Yes, there are a few things that are more important than the chunk T-shirt, sadly. Trying to make sure that I'm set up for working for the rest of the month so that I have an income. Securing some new students, things of that nature came into play. So, paying bills, making sure my kids are taken care of, that kind of stuff. And my beautiful lady and my dogs. It's all lies. It's just lies. You're right. No, the one of the big issues is that I'm terribly horrible at time management and task execution. That said, I continue to work on improving that because I want you to have a chunk T-shirt. So, while we're having the show today, the link will be created and it will be put into this video. It's one of the things we're working on right now. Fellow to C says, I would like to hear your lyrics and your process when writing them. So the process, let me talk about that just briefly, and then we'll get to some other things here. I want to get into some of the fundamentals of that. I wonder if I can display some. So when I write lyrics, because I've done a considerable amount of it, the more I've thought about it, I never really thought myself as much of a songwriter, but the more I think about it, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's going to become Kick. Yeah, I'm going to respond to that just briefly too. It's going to become like the joke of the Love Chunk or Urakami t-shirt is so wonderful. It's like it's already setting up tribalism. It's already setting one group against another. So, like if you are more of a left-leaning individual, far left person, and you believe that communism is appropriate, right? But you also like chunk. Now you have a conundrum. Now you're like, well, wait a minute. I want to like chunk and be a commie. So I've set up a dichotomy there that you either love chunk or you're a commie, and it's divisive in that way. Hey, Vet. Good morning, by the way. I know I saw you in there before, but I didn't catch you. And I know. Well, I'm going to do roll call after a bit. But before I forget about Kicka's thing here, this is just funny. It's occurred to me. So, it's amusing to me that we've set the shirt up that way. But now that you're all waiting on the shirt, I'm setting up a group tension between myself, who needs to get the shirt produced and available to the public, and those that want the shirt, right? I'm the one with the have, right? I'm like the white South African farmers. And you guys are like the ones that are going after me, right? Oh man. No. I know I'm building anticipation. It's going to be great. Well, hopefully we drive it up a little bit. And I want to thank before we get into today's show. I'm going to go back to the lyrics here because I want to answer fellow deceased questions about that. But I want to thank Steve Pinder for creating a wonderful design for the Love Chunker Urakami shirt because it's fantastic. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you bored, Mr. Nicktown? I'm so sorry to hear that. Or are you talking about Bower? Is that? I don't know. I didn't know what way you were utilizing that. Maybe there's a double entendre there. I'm not sure. All of you guys have your degrees of humor to you, which is excellent. Yeah, Pender for the win is right, Dom. He kicked butt on that. Oh man. The white South Africans. I'm kicking my microphone. That's not good. He's ridiculous. Steve is so good at what he does. South African BOER. What is BOER? Oh, Boers. Gotcha. See, I wasn't up on the terminology, so thanks for bringing me up to speed. Let's see here. I'm trying to bring up a notes file and see if I can put it on screen. Studio switcher. Well, that's not what I want. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to give you a look at some lyrics that I'm playing around with. These are just, I've just touched on it. Like, I haven't even finished it, but I'm going to show you a couple of the lyrics I've started on. Boars, yeah. Gotcha. I'm tracking on that now. I should know because I need to see Farmlands. I need to watch Lauren's documentary on that stuff, and I haven't done that yet. How's my volume? Am I better when I'm closer? Obviously, I'm better when I'm closer. Like, that's kind of a duh. But yeah, it gets awkward to sit too close because then the image of me is, well, frightening. And it's difficult to get that mic too much closer. Here we go. That's better. Now I don't have to lean in so much. All right, so back to the studio. And let's see if I can't create a new scene. What is scene 5? Okay. So sources, add a source. And we'll show an image. And what image shall we show? Add existing image. Image. Well, I want to... Well, how would I do that? I don't know if I want to do that. Let's just do this. Well, let's put the image in. How do I do that? How about a window capture? Let's add a window capture. Let's do that. Let's see here. Just learning. Yes, I'm using OBS. How are you doing, Pender? Oh, there we go. I found it. Okay, I got it now. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to get a little look-see at what I've been up to. All right. So, I'm going to transition you here to an example of some lyrics that I've been working on. So, as some of you should be able to read now. If it's big enough, tell me. If it's not big enough, tell me. One of the two. You can see these lyrics on this one. The clouds by day. The cloud by day runs rings around mounds. The fire by night burns bright on the bounds of my heart. Mountains can be moved, but for my misplaced will, I submit myself to you. And there was going to be something else in that section that I didn't finish yet. The sea before slides aside so I can pass. The hordes behind become confined and are cast into the outer dark. Yeah, it's a little by little I'm getting OBS to cooperate with me and do some things. So this is good. I made it open something. So yeah, can anybody see those lyrics or am I just smoking something? I didn't know if they were too small to read on the screen. If so, I can make them bigger. I think. At any rate, so you can kind of see how, okay, good. You can kind of see how I had been taking an idea, right? And for anybody that isn't picking up on what I was doing here, I'm talking about the Exodus, you know, and the whole crossing of the Red Sea. The idea of God being the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night and leading them through the wilderness to the point where they're kind of blocked in at Mount Sinai. In fact, I'm going to transition back to you guys. I'm going to put a different window capture in here. Let's see if it'll let me bring up Chrome. And I'm going to show you something really cool if it'll let me. So let's see if it'll let me go to Google Maps. Because there's something amazing here. Let's see here. Gulf of Aqaba. Gulf of Aqaba on the map. For those of you that know what the Gulf of Aqaba is, you're probably already knowing where we're heading here, but for those that don't, you're kind of in for a treat, I think. So traditionally, Mount Sinai, Sinai, some people pronounce it a little differently, was thought to have been in Saudi Arabia, or excuse me, not Saudi Arabia, but in Egypt, right? In territory, in the Sinai Peninsula, basically, where I guess it was Egyptian territory at the time of the Exodus, which makes that kind of odd, right? For the position of the mountain that they were going to get away from the Egyptians that had been enslaving them, for that to still be within Egyptian territory is a bit, let's say, silly at best. And so more and more people that had researched this over the last few decades came to the understanding that that may not very well be the location of Mount Sinai. And then something in particular that was very wild to many was the finding. Hang on a second. There we go. Let's see here. Well, you're not helping me, Google. You guys are just looking at me playing around with this thing. What I want to do is, there we go. Let's zoom out a little bit. No, I'm zooming in. I'm special. I can't even see what you guys are saying. So I'm going to get the map set up just right here so you can see it, because I want to show you the path, and I think that's worthwhile. So here we go. Here's how we're going to do this. Window capture. Let's do that. No, we're going to go to Chrome. Yeah. Well, that's not the Chrome I wanted to go to. I have a couple Chromes going on here. Let's see here. Oh, you know what I have to do? I know what I have to do. So I have to pull up that while it's up. Huh. Well, it's always fun to learn new things about the program you're messing with. You guys can hear the chunk barking, can't you? They're barking at people outside because they're dogs. I gotta love them even when I don't feel inclined to. There we go. This is the one I want to share with you. Okay. Awesome. So we got it. You guys can now see the map, which is what I was hoping for. Yeah. So, and I'm not seeing your chat comments at the moment, just FYI. I will after a moment here. But you've got this spot, like down to the far bottom right corner, there's some spot of land. And that spot of land is known as the Gulf, or excuse me, there's this little area of land here. It's like a big beach. And let's go back to seeing what you see. Yeah, bottom right corner, there's a beach. Now, there's a trail kind of leading up toward the upper middle through the mountainous area. So the Israelites had to flow through this mountainous area, right? And eventually they come out to this big beach. It's big enough to hold, a couple million people, which is probably what we're dealing with at that time. And they're stuck. They can't go anywhere, right? That's the thought of many. This is like on the Red Sea. This is like, oh, sorry, I went the wrong direction. Let's see here. The Red Sea is, the big old Red Sea. I think I zoomed out quite a bit. It's just going to take a minute. Here we go. So you got this big old leg of the Red Sea here. This is called the Gulf of Aqaba, and this is the Gulf of Suez. Is that right? I believe that's right. Yep. And so down further lower, they're like the bunny ears to the actual Red Sea as we normally think of it. But over in here, let's see, over in this area, in between the bunny ears. I don't know whether you're seeing my mouse or not. So, in between the bunny ears is basically an area that is still Egyptian, and then further beyond that is Saudi Arabia. So, if when the Israelites got to this area on the Gulf of Aqaba, this little, as I think they did, and many more. I'm going the wrong way again. Many more, what you would call archaeologists are kind of coming to that conclusion over the last few decades that they ended up going here, and that Mount Sinai would actually be in what we know as Saudi Arabia today. When they got here, they're stuck, right? However, underneath the water at this location is the only spot along this Gulf of Aqaba where it's not, several thousand feet down. It's only about 900 to 1,000 feet down, and you're looking at like almost pure sand, kind of kind of a submerged land bridge between the left end of this giant beach here and the right side where there's a bit of a beach as well. In fact, where's the other beach? It's not directly across. I think it was across and down. Oh no, I was right. I was right before. There is a bit of a beach there. Yeah. At this, right over here, and it leads to on the right side. It's about the middle of your screen right now. Again, I don't know whether I've got mouse or not. Well, I guess it's not the middle of your screen, but yeah, you can kind of see where it ought to be. Middle right side. So yeah, they're kind of pressed in and stuck there. And I wanted to kind of encapsulate that lyrically. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I look at these kind of maps, I look at these types of things, and I think about it, and I think, boy, it would be neat to be able to really capture the essence of what that whole thing was about. Where we repel the Islamic horde. Not exactly. Steve. I'm just now getting back to the chats. I couldn't see it before. Hey, Tyler had to bust out. That's cool. We'll see you soon, Ty. Yeah, I want to see that movie too, Kick. I haven't seen it yet. Just going back through those real quick. Let's see here. So, okay. Just to lose my train of thought. So basically, when I'm writing lyrics, and this is especially for fellow to see, I see vivid pictures like this. I get these ideas in my mind about experiences that people in times past had, and even the experiences that I've had personally. And I want to draw something vivid. I want to create some rhyme in the midst of it, but I don't want my rhyme to be just always typical. Sometimes I do, and really simple, but other times I want to space the rhyme out. I want to have like internal rhyme. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I got you on slow mode. You can I only have it at 10 seconds, but that's for the sake of me being able to continue to read the chat, nothing else. One day, otherwise it would just spur so quickly. I'd never be able to read anything. It's actually just you, Dom. I just put Dom in slow mode. So, so I don't know if that helps at all, but that fellow to see is kind of what I do. I get an idea in my mind that I'd like to communicate, but not just to talk about through regular words. I want to have specific words that create an imagery, right? And that there's some rhyme that draws you into it a little bit more. Something that feels like it can flow lyrically. Like sometimes I'll almost have a rhythm and a melody in my head. It may not stay the same melody, but when I'm lyric writing, that stuff comes to mind right away for me. So part of what I think helps is being connected to a melodic instrument like guitar or piano and listening to lots of other music. And when you have a melodic idea, it might be connected to a lot of other music that you've listened to in a way. It's similar, not the same thing, but you get inspired or ideas from really great music. So I take those things and they're all churning around up here, right? And eventually some of it's got to come out. So I'll connect that with a lyrical idea little by little. And sometimes I'm far more inspired than at others. I'm going to see if I can go back to the notes program and share with you what I was just recently writing, this 11 tall by 23 that I wrote. Now, if you steal this, I'll be pretty upset because it's not complete yet, but I'll forgive you. I mean, it's in my video, so you know it's mine, so I can prove it. And, you know, nuts to y'all if you steal it. I'm just being a goof. Anyway, all right, so I got to change what I'm capturing with my window. Notes. Where's the notes? There's the notes. All right. So here we go. This is 11 tall by 23, and this is what I wrote late at night last week. You know, and I was sitting there looking out this little window, and I went and measured it. I sort of started waking my wife up because I went in there with a tape measure and was like measuring the window a little bit. And I was trying to be real quiet, but I wasn't so good. Tape measures are not what you would call quiet. 11 tall by 23, my view into infinity. Yet only one point that I see, as if it stares straight back at me. Now, if you'll notice, syllable-wise, right? 11 tall, 1, 2, 3, 4, by 23, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 syllables. My view into infinity. That's another 8 syllables. Yet only one point that I see, as if it stares straight back at me. So again, 8 syllables. So I'm trying to keep this to an 8-syllable flow in this verse, right? Then I go into verse 2 and I try to do the same thing. 23 wide, 11 up, right? A feast on which my mind will sup. Would that time linger till sunup, like Wesley kissing Buttercup. And, you know, I've got all sorts of ideas on how I'm putting other bits together for that, melodically, chord-wise. So you get that. This is the way I think about it. Yeah, I wanted to get a Princess Bride reference in there because I'm beginning to think about how the night sky sort of helping to lull me to sleep when I really am not having a good time of getting to sleep is having that effect. And it's almost like a love in a sense that the Creator has for me. You know, and of course we think of love usually in the romantic sense, but love is far bigger than that. It has various different characteristics to it. In fact, in Greek, some of you may be familiar that there were about 4 or 5 different words that were used for love, or sometimes they were translated as charity. Certain ones were. But love, in some modern versions, you've got about 5 different words that get translated love. There was eros, which is an erotic kind of love. It's where we get the word erotic from eros. There's phileo, which is like a brotherly love, which is why we call it Philadelphia. It comes from phileo, right? Kind of a friendship sort of love. Then you have storge, which would be an emotional bond, kind of like that, which you might have for your children, in a sense, or your family. And the eros is definitely kind of a marital sort of thing, or it ought to be. It can be outside of that. That's my thought anyway. A kind of gay love. I don't know that was one of them. I'm sure it was used in that way because that type of interaction, man to man or woman to woman, was certainly existent within the Greek culture. But there's another one, agape, right? And this was a different type of love altogether. It was a perfect kind of love that was above what human beings were capable of in some ways. And it was used in other ways too, I guess, by the Greeks in more of a secular fashion. But the brotherly love. I got you. Yeah, there are different terms in Hebrew for love. That's certainly true. Gosh, I used to know some of them better, and I'd have to go look up some of my old references. But there's another term. These other ones are more descriptors in a sense. There's another term that's based off of the root agape. It's called agapeo, right? And it's a verb. It's an action term. And agapeo is this action love. Hey, good morning, Andrew J. You're coming in at a great time. Egyptians. Yeah, they're unique characters there, Steve. Um, uh, so good squirreling, by the way. Agapeo was it's what was being translated from. That's a term that was being translated from in, say, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, where they talk about faith, hope, and charity in some of the older versions, or faith, hope, and love as it's translated in more modern versions. But the greatest of these is love, right? That whole segment there. So if you're trying to get a better understanding of what they're talking about there, it's this fully devoted to kind of love. It's this totally giving oneself over to, like an emptying of self, right? An emptying of self-concern and total devotion to the best for another, right? And it's something that I don't usually see in people. I see glimpses of it occasionally, and some amazing glimpses of it. But largely it's not within our nature. And we even have genes that tend toward this. Some would say that we have selfish genes. We have a tendency to this. And I probably wouldn't disagree with that for the best that I know about it. There's probably more information out there. But yeah, I would think that probably our natural state is to be self-focused. And it helps you survive in a lot of ways. But that's in and of yourself. There's a place and time for that kind of focus on what you need to do for you, especially if you do so in such a way as to prepare yourself to bear burdens for others around you and help lift them out of their suffering and yourself as well. I don't believe I said Scott Baio. That's so funny. Somebody else did. Oh my gosh, that's cracking me up. Scott Baio, man. Wasn't that Welcome Back, Kotter? Or no, was Scott Baio, yeah. Was he from Welcome Back, Kotter? Charles in Charge. Excuse me. Charles in Charge. I should know. Oh, man. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I don't blame you. Best answers. I know how that goes for me, too. Out of sight, out of mind. I get that going on plenty. Scott Baio was in Happy Days? I don't recall that. I know he was Charles in Charge, and I thought he was in some other show too, but I can't recall which. Anyway, we're getting off on Scott Baio now. Guys are cracking me up. At any rate, so I entitled today expressing gratitude, even if it's like years late. It's a worthwhile thing to do. I was thinking about this yesterday. My chaplain over at the airbase, he was talking a little bit about this. He shared a story with us during our meeting for the office. And caffeine and love drug. Guys are funny. He shared a story with us at the office that was pretty impactful. And he talked about, oh, hey, don't do that. I'm knocking my mic over. That's not what I want to do. He talked about a story regarding David and some things that had gone on in David's life. And it's so funny because my wife and I were just recently reading 1st and 2nd Samuel, and we're just getting into 1 Kings. So that's our daily reading. Or we try to make it daily. He related a story that I just recently remembered reading in I want to say it was in 2nd Samuel, or 1st Samuel probably. Yeah, it had to have been before David took over as king. It was interesting, I guess, the way it went down. So I can't remember now the story in depth, but I do remember that what he talked about was demonstrating your thankfulness to people that have helped you along the way. And it got me to think about all these different people that came to mind all of a sudden that have helped me in different ways and that I never fully thanked. There was a man, was a great Bible teacher. If you don't know about him, I've talked about him before, Dr. Chuck Missler. And really, really kind gentleman, just recently passed away earlier this year. His wife had passed away some years before him. Nancy was her name. And they were both really sweet, wonderful, kind people from everything I could gather. And you start to feel like you know someone when you watch hours of them speaking. You start to get that connection. It's funny as I think about that, having listened to certain Bible teachers and other people, speakers and such on MP3s and other stuff like that for years. I've done that. And then I started doing it on YouTube with folks like Crowder and Owen and Stefan a bit. Definitely JBP. That's definitely someone that I feel like I've gotten to know a little bit more in depth because he's talked about himself so candidly. But you definitely begin to feel these things. A little closer connection with these folks, and part of their personality tends to rub off on you a little bit. So, listen to a lot of Dr. Missler stuff, especially the Learn the Bible in 24 Hours series, which I highly recommend you go check out on YouTube. Joyce has had some great things over the years too. I've listened to some of her bits, watched some of her things over the years. I was deeply impacted by Nancy's stuff though. Nancy had a series called The Way of Agape, and a lot of interesting thought there about how to live out a Christian life, just to live out a life that's servant oriented toward others. And it was pretty impressive because she sort of held herself to an even higher standard than most of us would, and she recognized that she wasn't going to attain it, but she was still going to pursue it. Right? That's the idea. It's like you hold yourself to a standard, and even if you don't attain it, you don't necessarily expect that you're gonna. You still strive. You still shoot for it, because continuing to seek that kind of behavior is not only beneficial to yourself but those around you. To be the best representation of the character of God on earth that you can be. That's probably going to be good for other people. And it's in a small way, maybe in a big way. It's what Peterson recommends for us to do, to embody those characteristics that Christ embodied quite fully. So we've got plenty of people that advocate for that type of thing, acting as if God exists. And Nancy going even a step further and saying, I'm acting as though I'm in deep relationship with the creator of the universe. And I seek that out every day. So it's exactly right. Best answers, right? You can't go wrong continuing to shoot for it. So Nancy, well, I was deployed in Iraq the last time, back in 2007, I want to say it was. I think I had written them an email. I written her an email, and I was going through some difficult times at that point. And the relationship back home is still strained and everything. I mean, shoot, it's my third deployment inside of a 4-year period. And I've got 2 kids there, young little kids who are now my older boys. And, wasn't sure what the future of that relationship was going to be like. And it was really difficult to process all that. She wrote me a handwritten note and sent me some of her books, like while I was out there. And that was unbelievable. And I never wrote her back. I never sat down to do it because I have a deeply difficult time sitting down and writing letters or doing any kind of thing that involves me writing, any kind of like task that's like a administrative type task in some way. Even writing letters to people, it's difficult. I can do it. I just have to organize myself in order to get that accomplished in some sort of reasonable amount of time. And as easily as I can get squirreled, right? I can get squirreled from having to sit and write something, even though I might want to. So I never did. And I always regretted that because she definitely deserved, and it's not like she didn't have people telling her they were grateful for her impact in their lives. She had plenty of it. But I know I'll have an opportunity to tell her when we're all up there together, and Dr. Missler as well. Definitely would love to get to see Chuck finally and say thank you so much for the impact you had on my growth and development. But sometimes it's people that did things even smaller than that. I don't know the guy's name now, and I used to have his business card, and I lost it. I never got down to doing it. This happened, I have to think now. It was it was probably it was '04 when I was coming home to see my first son be born. I got home and I didn't want to, break operational security or anything, and I wanted to surprise my beautiful wife at the time. Um, and she was getting ready to have our first son, and I got home to have my 2 weeks boots on the ground leave from Iraq, and I was at the airport, and I had been flying on the plane with a couple other military guys that had been coming back that same flight to get into our local area. And there was one gentleman who I guess was like the head of the National Guard of, or was it the reserves, I guess, I'm not sure, of all of Illinois. He was like one of the head guys of the reserves, in the military reserves in Illinois, a colonel. And I want to say his last name was Peterson. I really do. But I can't think for sure now what his full name was. But he offered to give me a ride home. It's only 20, 25 minutes away, maybe less, from the airport. And I never got a hold of him and thanked him for that. I mean, I told him thank you that day, but I mean, to really thank him appropriately, I should have written him a note or something like that. And wherever he went to, I'd love to be able to meet him now and appropriately thank him. And there's a lot of people that I want to do that with that helped me. I got out of that car and I grabbed my bags and I walked up to the house, triumphantly. I was so excited to surprise my wife at that time that I'd made it safely back home. And yeah, I thought more and more about that. It's like people like that do something for you. It's good for your character and it's good for their heart when you give them an opportunity to know what an impact you made or they made in your life. So, ever since then, I try with more intention to make sure that I thank people right then and there in some important way when they've impacted me greatly, or I try to remind them every time I see them how much they've impacted me. I saw my first drum teacher this weekend, just briefly. My very first drum teacher, David Weibel, great man. I love that guy. Very, very hardworking man. Great father, in my opinion. He's been a very kind man to me. And when I was a youth, he was the drummer in this Christian rock band that my mom was a part of. And he took me under his wing. He let me be like the drum tech in a sense for when they'd go out and do shows. And he would take me, have me come over to his place, and he'd teach me stuff. He encouraged me. He gave me opportunities to do more. He'd invite me to other band practices when he was working with people. He took me to my first drum clinic where I saw Rick Latham, author of Advanced Funk Studies, one of the best drum books of all time. He took me to see this guy play and talk about his playing and teach, more specifics about how he did what he did. And really, really, really set the foundations for me as a drummer. And when I got to see him again, he was a teacher over in Dubai for many years. And I think his son was born out that way. He and his wife and his son all living out there for many years teaching. And then he came back a couple of years ago, and I finally got to see him for the first time in like 10 plus years. Was so grateful, so excited to see him. And he came to see me play. Oh, shaking the table. He came to see me play for a musical where I was drumming. It was School of Rock, the musical. I'll bring this headroom down a little bit. Hey, Fred, glad you could pop in, man. Hope to see you soon. Yeah, I was drumming for School of Rock, the musical at Peoria Players Theater, but a couple of years ago. And David was out there, and it was so cool because David was there, and then my student, Jonas, young boy that I teach, young man he's becoming, he was out there to sit and watch me backstage for the whole show and just absorb what I was doing and learn. And then I have it somewhere, and I don't know what happened to it, but I have a picture of myself and David and Jonas. So it's like 3 generations of drummers, right? Main teacher, my teacher, and then myself, and then my student. That was really cool. It was really, really, really neat. So I'm grateful, and every time I see him, I remind him, like, huge impact you made on me. I don't want you to forget that. I want you to know it, because I think people need to be reminded of what kind of impact they make. Sometimes they don't see it. Sometimes they're going through their life and their life hasn't been all that great. Sometimes they've had a lot of things happen to them that you may not know about, but they stood in the gap for you. They did something for you at some point that massively impacted you. So the importance of telling people when you have the opportunity, or finding a way to show them how that you've been an impact to them, or they've been an impact to you, excuse me. Yeah, it's exciting. It's a good deal. And it's good for your own heart to pursue that. You guys are having your own conversation over there about a bunch of stuff cracking me up. But it's important to do when I go off on my own little diatribes. It's worthwhile. You should. At any rate, yeah, I'd have to catch up with what y'all are talking about. It's something about panthers and something about walking bear. I'll find out one of these days. Maybe I'll catch you guys in Hangouts or something and figure out the rest. You guys are so funny. Hashtag drums. Drum tech. Yeah. You know, it was fun in that group. I probably don't want to know. Oh, well, good for them. That's cool. If they're together, that's a great thing, I guess. You're fine. You guys are fine. I'm not expecting everybody to not have hyperbole in the chat. I appreciate that, and it makes me laugh. It makes the show, you know, sometimes people's hyperbole in the chat directs the flow of the show once in a while. I decide to take a track and then end up talking about things that really impact people. And so I'm grateful for that. That keeps the show organic. When I let you guys say what you're going to say, like somebody asked last night, I've thought about this. I'm probably going to go back and render some of the videos that are out there, like for above 18, just because of the chat. Some of them, not all, but a friend of mine, I was telling him, I started this YouTube channel. His kids walked up and said, "Oh, what's the name of the channel?" I thought, actually, you know what? I probably don't want to recommend it to kids. I'm not so sure I could do that. Hey, Robot Bear, welcome. Always good to see new faces up in here. Anybody know Robot Bear? Anybody seen him around, or her? I don't want to assume your gender, or Z, or Zer. I don't know. Somebody give me a thumbs up if Robot Bear is legit. Robot Bear, you're not a bot, are you? I'm making a decision right now about you, Robot Bear. I'm attempting to decide something. So if I would have he's good. All right. Kodiak just vetted you. Kodiak said you're good. So in-group preference engaged. Well, it was. Hang on. Dang it. I was about to engage it, but I'm slow. Come back here. Where'd you go? Man, this chat moves fast even when it's on slow mode. Where'd you go? Oh my gosh. You disappeared on me. There you are. Okay. Well, it's because your name is gray. It's hard. It blends in. All right. You're Brian. You're okay. Well, now you're a wrench. So welcome. See, that's what I was trying to determine about you. Are you wrench material, or am I going to one day have to, have a wrenching and make you victim number one? I would think not, though. Mod lives matter. Yeah, you're okay. You're all right. So cool. Welcome. Always good to have. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share and comment. I always appreciate those kind of things, and it makes things grow. Guys, we're getting so close to 100 subscribers on this channel, which blows my mind. I'm super excited about that. Let's see here. Hang on. Come back here. All right. I got it. This is the first time I'll ever do this. This is the first time I've ever done this to anybody, right? Welcome to Timeout, Dom. I didn't delete his messages. No, that's not what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to delete Tom's messages. No. How do I take somebody out? I was kidding. I didn't actually want to do that. Oh, 300 seconds, so 5 minutes. Or is that, yeah. Wow, that's like power I just wielded. But to be fair, since you know, it was recommended, you know, and you do it all the time, so you know now you can see how it feels. Now you, yeah, this is great. Oh man, I think Kikya probably appreciates that. Well, I didn't mean to delete fellow deceased message. What happened? No. Did you delete your own message, fellow deceased? Because I didn't want you to delete your message. Let's see here. No. I want to. Oh, it's not there. Fellow deceased, I don't know what happened to your message. I was going to read it. But if you didn't want us to see it, I understand. Yeah, it's purely a joke. I'm just teasing them both, you know. Let's see here. What is going on? Okay. All right. Oh man, that's too funny. That is very, very funny. What is this business going on here? I don't quite get this. Okay. All right. This is too funny, guys. I don't know what's happening. But at any rate, so yeah, this is just a little fun. I'd take you out of timeout now, because I didn't really want to put you in for a full 5 minutes, but it was just fun to do it. You know, I guess I got drunk with power. I just started on one and I couldn't stop. But are you guys deleting each other's messages now? Is everybody just using their drunk power? Is that what's happening? Everybody's doing it to everybody. That's so funny. So nobody's saying anything in the chat now. That's all that's going on. Yes, it clearly does. It clearly does. You know what? And it's, you know, Robot Bear, it's when I brought you in, right? And so one could say that you're partly responsible. You might warrant. Okay, kick you. Did you type that, or did somebody who's actually named God in this chat delete your message? Was that a joke? Is that what's going on? I'm just trying to catch up on all this. This is new territory for me. Oh my goodness, you guys are cracking me up. Okay, all right. So that's what the deal is. This is just too funny. I was thinking that everybody somehow had the ability to delete other mods' messages. I wasn't sure how it worked. It's really funny. It's really, really funny. At any rate, so hopefully we'll get Dom and Pinder back pretty quickly here. I love them both, but yeah, Pinder egged me on, you know, and he got me to corrupt myself. So yeah, Dom, you were the first victim, I know, but only because I love you, man. It's purely out of love. It wasn't, and I mean that. I don't know. See, now I'm considering doing it to somebody else. I got to get away from this. I got to get away from this before I get too drunk with power. Yeah. It's how do you wield the wrench rightly? You know. See, I guess what I'm thinking is that this is how you tell people thank you. This is the way that I want to show my thanks to those two gentlemen, because Dom has been a big supporter of me since the beginning. And so by separating him from the rest of you, you know, I'm letting him be in a special place, set apart from the whole, because I only do it to people that I love. So, Dom, it is my way of saying thank you. I am expressing my gratitude to you through putting you in timeout. Steve, you created the Love Chunk or your Akami graphic for the coming shirts, and I'm extremely grateful to you for all of that. Hey, he's back. I'm extremely grateful to Steve for creating that and for having me on his show at different times. It's been a huge blessing, and it's probably helped me grow quite a bit. See, that's how you get it. That's how you get love from the people around you. That's how you get the love, right? You put people in timeout. You express your dominance, and they love you for it. It's Machiavellian. It's like, what's the whole point of his book? Better to be feared than loved. That's right. That's right. I made my show better right there. Just got more likes because of it. Oh my goodness. You guys have put me down a path of danger. But I love you both. You guys have helped out a lot. Dom's an Antifa organizer. A Minnesotan Antifa organizer. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. So, find the people in your life, and I mean this seriously, find the people in your life that have benefited you, helped you in some way that maybe you never truly said thank you to, or you never really demonstrated to them what it meant, right? And let them know. I hope to find, like, my old track coach, Andy Mulberry. I don't know what happened to him. I can't find hide or hair of this guy anymore, but Andy Mulberry was my track coach back in junior high, and he saw something in me. When I was in 6th grade, it was the first time I was in organized sports, and he put me up in there on shot put. Like, he pushed me hard because he thought I was just slacking at first. He didn't realize I'd never done anything like this. I was growing in my confidence level about things, and I was not sure about stuff at all. I wanted to quit, but I didn't. I stuck with it, and he saw that. And he rewarded it. He encouraged me and pushed me differently, and got me to do shot put. And I was one of the only 6th graders, I think, that had the upper body strength to do shot put at that time. And I ended up going to a state competition for it, which was mind blowing. I don't know how that happened. But yeah, that was exciting. And then the next year he puts me as the first one to try out the new 110-meter hurdles. Previously it had been like 100-yard hurdles or something, but this year they were doing 110-meter hurdles. So it was a little different, longer distance. And he put me in there doing that when I'd never done anything like that before. I'd set school records that year, like he saw something in me, and really pushed me, and I'm super grateful for it. He was a really, really kind guy. Tough but fair, smart as a whip too. Interesting character. So hope I can find him and say thank you. It's like, hey, I'm running all the time now. I'm in the military. I've got to. Oh, stop that. I'll put you back in timeout. Dumb. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that don't know, this is a ram's horn, better known as a shofar, because today is a special day. Today on the Hebrew calendar is Yom Teruah, or the Day of Trumpets, the Feast of Trumpets. And my wife and I were going to go to a celebration last night. Not that Rams, no. We were going to go to a celebration last night where people, so it's associated with the fall harvest, and when the new moon shows up, in relation to the fall harvest, it's supposed to be when you hold that, but the sighting of the new moon. So people were out blowing their shofars in joy and praises that they're sustained for another year, because food grows, because it keeps on happening. We're keep on moving through another year's cycle, and we blow the shofar in response to that. We got there late. We missed out on a lot of the cool stuff that they were doing there, but it was still a really cool thing to go out by there. And I caught up with a good friend of mine, and I'm going to go have a meeting with him today. So something positive came out of going there, even though we were late. But this is something my wife picked up from Israel, or she had ordered from Israel. And I'm going to play it for you just briefly. There's 4 different types of shofar blasts. There's one just regular quick blast. There's a really long blast. There's I'm trying to remember. There's a series of 3. And then there's a series of 3 times 9. You do like short, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Bleh, I can barely say it. And they all have names, and I had the names written down, but of course I forgot them. I used to know this, and I should know this. But there's 4 basic types of shofar blasts, and they have different purposes. There's some different spiritual significance tied up behind the different types of shofar blasts that are discussed in the Bible. So I'm going to try to play through the different shofar blasts as I recall them. And maybe I'm misrepresenting it, but we'll get it right. If I don't get it right today, I'll get it right the next day. So here, I'll back up a little bit. See if I can actually play this. Probably should go longer for that one. So, yeah, there's 4 different types of blasts. The long one, like the sustained. Excuse me. I'm going to try that one again because I lost it. The really long one. That one I almost lost. The 3 sharp blasts. And then the alarm blasts, the quick 9, 3 quick 9s. It is difficult. Whew. And all of those are used for different purposes within the Hebrew culture of time past and still celebrated ceremonially today. But it's deeply connected with the harvest. That's a big part of what the Feast of Trumpets has to do with. Turn off the camera first. Oh, my goodness. You don't want to watch me blow my trumpet? You guys are funny. The main Well, thankfully, she's not here. So you don't have to worry about that. That's not what that is. Oh, my goodness. Tom. I think he's trying to get me to put him in timeout again. I think that's what's going on now. The timeoutening, right? No wrenching here. Don't just be the timeoutening. That's what I do. Put everybody in timeout. No, just Dom and Pender occasionally. Possibly kick you. Hardware bear. So you don't have a wrench, and you look like you're a part of the gang. In-group preference activated. Welcome to Wrench Life Hardware Bear. Glad you could be here. Use it wisely. I've chosen wisely. Name that movie. I probably changed the line around a little bit. It chose poorly. What movie was that? Who knows? Wrenchalism. That's funny. There you go, Andrew J. Getting it right away. Indiana Jones and the Holy Grail. Yeah, well, my representation was terrible. It was actually The Last Crusade. You're correct, Best Answers. That's the appropriate title, but it was the Holy Grail one. Yes. So technically, the best answers had the best answer, which is fitting. Oh man, that's funny. So let's see now. Yeah. So we talked about a few different interesting things here, and it is getting about that time because I've got a meeting to go to before too long here, and I want to tell you guys plenty about that tomorrow if there's stuff I can talk about. But little by little, we're going to grow this room. We're going to make this space more interesting. The quality of the show is growing. I did want to share with you a little bit of music while I'm able today, and I think I have it. Here we go. We're going to go to the iCloud where I have it stashed. So let's see now. You know what? No, we're not. What we are going to do is open up GarageBand, and I think I can do it in here. Hey, Dom. Good to see you, brother. Glad you could come in. Thanks for enduring some time out. Behave now. Oh, man. Let's see here. So GarageBand is trying to open. I hope I don't crash my computer trying to do that. I only have 8 gigs of memory. We'll see what that does. Some different music that I'm working with. I know that fellow to see, there you are. You just said something and program opened right over the chat, so I couldn't read it. Have you ever had a burst of inspiration and wrote a song in one short sitting? If so, can you share? From start to finish, no, I don't usually do that. It usually comes in bits and pieces. Well, like the lyrics that I was showing earlier for that 11 Tall by 23 song, that did come pretty much at once, though I fell asleep before I finished it. And then as soon as I woke up, I finished the rest of it. And that's the lyrics for the tune. So I got the lyrics down. The chords not right away. But go forth and behave. That's awesome. So yeah, has it happened quite like that? No, I've not usually written all in just one sitting. Now, if I'm in a room with other people, if I have the opportunity to collaborate with others, I think that would be an environment for me to write things a lot faster. And I think that happens for a lot of songwriters. And that's part of it too. Like, I'm highly influenced by a wide range of music. I'm not just influenced by like typical singer-songwriter stuff or pop stuff or any of that. I'm influenced by a lot of progressive rock music, which is complex. It has lots of different little intricate parts, but they all go together to tell a story, right? It draws you into the music more deeply, in my experience. And I don't know, it tells the story more than just lyrically, because that's what I want to do. I want to create this mood, this atmosphere with the music that I write. Like that Seas song has lots of little subtle things going on under the surface. All sorts of kind of neat little things. And that's kind of what I like about it. So I'm going to show you some examples of some stuff I've written. And hopefully you can hear it. Oh, that's going to sound a little funky-doo. Maybe. We will see. So here is a tune that I didn't actually write this song. It's called Angels from the Realms of Glory, but this is my synth, just the beginning synth version of it. Let's see if it'll pop up here. Maybe not. Maybe it's not working. What is going on here? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't want to play that. Oh, you know what? I don't think I can do that. Huh. Steve. That's funny. Yeah, so I don't think it'll let me do the GarageBand stuff. I might have to copy those to file. All right, so we'll abandon what I was going to show you, and we'll go to something entirely different, which is always a blast. Let's see. So this is something I was working. I'll show you the progression of working on something. So I have several different files that eventually became my theme music. This is a great idea. My theme music started out like this. This is where it all started. Let's see now. I got an idea. I'm going to do it a little differently. Bear with me. Just a moment. I'm going to play it from my phone instead because I can do that without having to download everything, which gets kind of time consuming, and I'd rather not. All right, so let's see if the volume is up. You know, it's really frustrating sometimes when I get notifications for an email or some such, and it pops up right when I'm about to touch an app to go into it, and it opens up the email instead. So now I got to wait until that process finishes. It's not always as fast as I'd appreciate it being either. So I'm whining a little bit. Arnold would tell me, "Stop whining! Come on!" It's not a tumor. Could be worse. All right, so let's see here. I am downloading these to my phone just briefly. So something's happening that probably shouldn't be. I don't know. All right. Goodness. Gotta love the joys of technical stuff when you're doing a live stream. It's always simple. Is there any free downloadable GarageBand type software? Yeah, there's lots of things out there. Depends on what your platform is. If you're using a Mac, it should come with GarageBand, and then you can get updates. If you have a PC, there's various stuff, but Audible is probably Audacity is probably where I'd start. Audacity is like an open source free software that you can use in Windows, and you can do quite a lot with it. You can just record one thing at a time. There's a lot of stuff you can do with Audacity. So get to know whatever digital audio workstation program you're using as well as you can, and then you can do more with it. I'd recommend checking out Graham Cochran on YouTube. He's got a channel called The Recording Revolution, or just Graham Cochran. Just look that up. Either one. He's got a thing he called the $300 Studio Challenge, and he showed you how he recorded one instrument at a time, recorded an entire 4-song EP with one microphone, and he direct lined in guitar, bass, everything else, but one microphone to record full drum set. It wasn't programmed drums. It was actual real live drums, and he made it sound incredible. But yeah, Graham Cochran, the $300 Studio Challenge. You check that out and you get mind blown. And he doesn't use Audacity, he uses something else, but it's still equivalent. It's not too complex. A lot of easy options out there for not much. Yeah, Digital Audio Workstation, or DAW. That's what that stands for. That's what that's all about. Let's get 4. See if it'll do 4. And then 5. Making sure I have all these ready to go. So these are some of my different iterations of this tune. It started out real short. This was the first version of C's. Hopefully it'll work here. That's how that C song started. It was just that. And then I went to my second version of it. Oh, did I blow your eardrums out with that? I apologize if I did, because people have been saying it was too quiet before. So if it's too loud, just tell me. I'll turn it down, man. Still learning my levels over here. It was loud in my ears a bit, so let's see. I'm gonna hear. Here comes another one. Get ready. Hopefully it won't be too loud. This starts a little more gradually. I can go louder if you want. 80s popcorn rock. A little bit of that in there. Definitely influenced by a lot of 80s type stuff. So you can see how it's taking shape. This is the next stage of how I wrote this. Yes, it does. Hey, I can dance now, and it's like there's music behind it. I won't dance like that. That's not. So, getting more development into it, getting a little more complex. Yeah, it does have the Mario tone. Largely, it's because of the tonality of the guitar tones that I can get out of GarageBand. But it's also the synths that I choose. The synthesizers have that tone to them. How much is left here? I'm going to see where it's at. Oh, it's almost done. Yeah. So, just some examples of how I went forward with writing this. You're adding more, repeating the sections and giving it more oomph. Yeah, and still had that kind of little simple ending to it. But I got more complex. I added more layers to things, and eventually I got to the version that you guys are all familiar with. And so I'll just play that through because it's not super long. I'll play the final version of it just one time and let you guys have a listen. Is that the final version? I don't know. I'm starting to sound like Jay Leno. Maybe I'll take the show from Conan. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm going to go work on my cars. I can't get the head waggle like the rest of them. And I don't have the hair to bounce around and everything else like that too. So 303 is greater than everything. Up, up, down. I know what you're talking about. Oh man, a little contra action there. I remember Sonic the Hedgehog 2, up, down, left, right, A, B, start. That was, I believe that was your level select code for Sonic the Hedgehog 2, one of my favorites. Let's see here. So here's the full version of C's, and we'll just enjoy this a little bit together here. I decided to add in some bird noises. I figured out that I had all these weird bird noises and sounds, nature sounds, built into one of the patches in GarageBand. And this is an older version of GarageBand from my previous MacBook. So are all the keyboard sounds and tones. The drum sound, all of this is like just tones that come right with GarageBand. Get that nice guitar melody going in. So now we have like a counterpoint to it. The first part was more bright and happy, but this brings some tension. And the melody kind of winds down a little bit, but now it's sort of winding back up. You hear the tones going back higher and higher, and back to the brighter part of the melody, right? And that's kind of how we're totally moving this forward. That little bit of tension in that chord progression resolution there. Now we go back to this part. Like the dance section, right? I should stop doing that. I really should. Now we're lifting it up a little bit. We're going somewhere else. What's going to happen? This should be a lot more triumphant, right? It should be a lot more intense. And it will be with real instruments. A little halftime. That ride cymbal. It's kind of this riding out melody. Now we'll bring it back to full time. Not this halftime jazz anymore. Pick up, or we sit down right where we started from, with the nice nature sounds, the loons out in the background. It's kind of fun. You know, I liked putting this piece together. I was really inspired, and it was just a little bit at a time, adding more and more to it, trying to draw interest. I don't know if there's going to be lyrics behind that or not, but I'd really like to see it done, because all of that's programmed. You know, what I would do is actually sit with my keyboard. Ooh, kicking my mic. I'd sit with my keyboard plugged in by MIDI to the computer. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, cool. Yeah, I'm going to be out of here before Owen starts. I got to get going to my meeting soon. I would sit there with the keyboard and I would type out certain melodic lines, play certain chords, different things like that, try different patches, see how it sounded, play a little bit, listen back to it, make changes, play a little bit, listen back to it, make changes. You know, and that was the process. That's the process of any good musician. It's a discipline. You sit there and you dig in a little bit more, and eventually you come out with an amazing piece there. But the more tools you have, you know, like the tools are really supposed to help you do it. Tools are supposed to help make it more streamlined of a process, right? And if you have a team of people, it makes it more streamlined. Just like me doing a live stream here would be so much more efficient if I had other people here to help with it. You know what I'm saying? It would be not so chaotic. So, yeah. It's just, I can do what I need to do with what I have, but I can just make the quality better with better stuff over time. But I need to earn that in a sense, not like just financially, but earn it in terms of building my own capabilities. You chose Pinder. You chose Polly. No, I'm kidding. I'm just teasing. Depends on what kind of mood Big Bear's in. You know, if he's in a crazy mood, just ranting about Rogan again or some crazy stuff like that, which, you know, it's actually fruitful to some degree. Boy, that's something I want to talk about at some point. Maybe tomorrow. I have to make a note for myself. I've been watching a lot of that interview that Rogan did with Elon Musk, and some of that was messing with my head. And then I heard him talk a little bit about his thoughts on solar energy and the fossil fuels and stuff like that. And he was saying stuff that I'm like, I'm fairly certain that your perspective on that is wrong, especially when you start saying, well, you know, the vast majority of the scientists are in consensus that blah, blah. Science is not about consensus. Yes, there is a degree of that in that you want to see people having the same experimentation, bringing the same results. But just because they agree about something is not the evidence, right? That's not testing. That's not the process. And all it takes is one dissenter who's got good evidence to support what he's saying to disrupt that. So that's how science is supposed to work. And as smart as Musk is, I'm like, you lost me a little bit when you're starting to say, oh no, we're just destroying the world with the oil thing. I'm like, I don't know how much of that is true, you know, but I was really listening to what he had to say about AI, and the AI stuff really kind of disturbed me about as much as it did Rogan because of the implications there. And because that's more his area of expertise, he might know a little bit more about the technological issues going on there and the implications. There might be something going on. Actually, fellow to see, I am going to go ahead and wrap it up because I got to go. But, yes, Elon Musk is the board queen. And the more he says resistance is futile, the more Joe Rogan needs some whiskey. So, Oh, I also heard that his stock plummeted because he smoked weed on the stream. So I don't know what that was about, but I haven't seen all of that. I know he had people texting him during the stream saying, "You've got to not smoke weed on the stream. You're going to destroy our company," or something along those lines. But I don't know. Just interesting thoughts that came from that. I'd like to extrapolate on that. So maybe tomorrow I'll dig into that a little bit. Could be cool. But for now, Bears, I'm trying to choose what music I'll leave you with. I think I've got it. I think I know what I'll leave you with, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. You see, years ago, I recorded something with some friends of mine. It was a little tune. It was called "I'll See You Yesterday," and we recorded a unique version of it.
Be singing this song with me and my friends wrote. We're gonna sing. I got my friends over here. Come on, guys, let's sing this song right now.
Yes, it's gonna be a little bit of Robert Goulet leading us into this song, and so I'll leave you with Bob Goulet and Arnold Schwarzenegger singing the wind down tune. But Bears, engage your mind, engage your body, engage your heart, and seek to serve the ultimate purpose. Express your gratitude to people that have served you well. Love you guys, and I will talk to you mañana. Peace, Bears.
Cause I'll see you yesterday. That's right, in spite of everything. We can talk about the futures, the lovers, the fools, the madmans, and the kings. And when we meet again in these worlds of the earth, we'll talk about all the futures and the Terminators and the crazy things and the peoples that it's worth. We will walk down the roads of our futures and we will say, I'll see you yesterday.